I'm L.A. Marzulli, the host of Supernatural Confrontations. It's our brand new show right here on our YouTube channel. We'll still continue on the trail of a Nephilim as well as politics, prophecy, and a supernatural report, but that's over on Rumble. This is a new show, and I think we've hit a nerve with Supernatural Confrontations. The reason why we had Karen on last week, who talked about a dark hooded figure, and we had, I think, upwards of 27,000 views on that, which is incredible. We also did something on hybrids, a show on hybrids, again, another Zoom call, which I think we're up to like 47,000 views. Obviously, we've hit a nerve. What I love about the show is that this is a platform. Folks just like you that have had an experience can come forward with a Zoom chat and tell your story. People are interested. Folks, the supernatural is real, absolutely real. And it's starting to manifest in ways that I've never seen in my 71 years on this planet. Our guest today, his name is Matthew. He's down in Georgia. And he visited an ancient burial site, one of those ancient mounds. And you can, if you're interested at all, you can go to our streaming site and streaming.lamarzulli.net and watch Mysterious Mound Builders or Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders. So Matthew's down on this mound and he's picking up arrowheads and surveying the area. And as he walks off, things got weird. And he took a photograph, and you'll see that in a little bit, of the sky. And it looked to him, and I agree, it looked like a portal opening up right over the mound. He was taken aback by that, and he and his friend got out of there as quickly as possible. And a very unnerving aspect of the story is this, that his friend years ago went to that mound, and you'll hear him tell exactly how the story, well, you'll hear it unfold in Matthew's own words. But, and I'm not going to give you the punchline here, but something very dramatic and very dramatic and visceral happened when this gentleman went into that mound and began to collect artifacts. If these are Nephilim sites, then many of these sites may be cursed. And if you take objects out of them or you disturb the burial, bad things can happen. Here's Matthew's story, and I'll see you when he's all finished on the other side of the interview. Now it's time to set the goals for the next cycle of inflation. This way, you're always moving forward, growing, making money, not losing it. Imagine having more freedom and more fun. Start a gold IRA with Noble Gold now and fight inflation. And this month, for every IRA above $20,000, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin completely free as a thank you. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Or to find out more, visit noblegoldinvestments.com. I'm here with Matthew. He's down in an undisclosed location someplace in Georgia. And you had an experience on a mound in Georgia, but there's a backstory to this that people really need to understand. Tell us the backstory and why you went back to this mound, essentially.
A guy I know, it's his family farmland, and he was shooting skeets off of the top of the mound, not knowing it was a mound, after his dad had plowed it and going to replant it. And he left all the shotgun shells out there, and his dad made him go back and pick the shotgun shells up. And as he's picking them up, he starts finding arrowheads and more and more and more. He continued to find relics of all kinds, just, arrowheads, beads. And it got so much, he wound up accumulating so much of it, he was just selling gobs of it. And it was on the side of the mound. It wasn't on top. He didn't have to really dig on it. He saw a hole. He saw a hole where it had opened up and saw something in there and thought it was a turtle shell.
Huh.
So he reaches in there and pulls out a skull. And so he goes on to uncover it all and finds a headdress to go with it, takes this headdress home with him and puts it, he's a young man. He's kind of clueless. I guess he wasn't very respectful, but he takes this skull and puts it on his TV to show off, And a series of very unfortunate events began to happen to the man, all the way up to the point where he died from some disease. He wound up getting MRSA, all in a period of about 3 months at the max.
Wow.
And things began to get so bad for him that he took that skull back out there and put it back on the mound. And the point that happened there was he said he had a dream. I told you this earlier. You want me to tell that?
Absolutely. Please do.
He said he had a dream, like a very vivid dream, where what he said was an Indian squaw or an Indian princess of some kind with a decomposing look, like she was decomposing, came into his bedroom at night and had sex with him. And he was completely helpless, like he couldn't move. He was awake, but he couldn't move, couldn't speak, nothing. He was just frozen in time, And he said that stuck with him so bad. He knew that, he'd never had dreams like that before. Nothing like that before. He kind of put two and two together and wound up taking it back out there. And so I hear this story. He tells me about it. So I go out there looking for arrowheads after his dad plowed it up later. And as I'm leaving, I look up to the sky and see that picture I showed you, and it was just mind blowing. I was glad the picture came through. I was worried about that because you really can't appreciate it unless you see it. But it was crazy. It was something else. It looked like a portal opening in the sky, but I don't know. I thought it's the most massive Indian mound I've ever seen now. I guarantee it's the size of, a dozen large houses. It's just, I wrote the coordinates down. I wanted you to pull it up. I'll show you later and you can pull it up on Google Earth and see it, get a feel for it yourself.
So let me ask you something. When you're, this man who took the skull, he obviously started getting supernatural occurrences. We have a good friend of ours, his name is Don, and we opened up a mound on his property. We never found a burial, but it's interesting how we went down into the mound. The mound was probably at one time, probably 10 feet above ground level. And over a period of, let's say, a couple of thousand years, it's disintegrated just basically from erosion and everything else. So when we got there, and we were sort of cavalier, and this was the very first mound I've ever dug into. And we have another mound we can dig into, or a burial site. We won't do it unless we get marching orders from the Lord. And what's interesting is Don came down after we got down to ground level, we stopped for some reason. We never went below ground level. We just stopped doing it. And if there's a burial there, it's below ground level. All that to say, right after that, Don began this slow decline health-wise. And he took artifacts. The artifacts are in his house. So the similarity between the stories is incredible. Don was rushed to the hospital several days ago. It's the 29th of April. This is like on the 27th. He was rushed to the hospital and, not sort of unresponsive. And he had lots of fluid in his lungs. He's had toes amputated, part of his finger amputated. It's this long, slow decline, very similar, except it's been 2 years. With your friend, it was like, 3 months, you said?
3 months. Perfectly healthy young man.
That doesn't
it was just a series of events that happened that all the way up to his death. And it was I guess you call it an unnatural death. I can't remember exactly what it was. I know he got MRSA, and two other things, and one of those other things killed him. I can't remember what they were. I'd have to ask my other friend, Jason, but it's exactly like you just said, a series of events. Me and that guy I just spoke of, Jason, we done it. I never thought, now that you've said it, me and him dug into something. I was in my early 20s. I'm 42 now. We were digging in a grave, what we thought was an Indian grave, because we used to we hunted arrowheads. That was just the biggest thing to us. And that night, we still talk about it this day, how everything that could have went wrong. We ended up getting stuck out there that night, and it was serious. I remember we said after that we would never try such a thing again, because it was definitely, not that many things can go wrong in a 30-minute period.
No,
Something was telling us to get out of that grave.
Yeah, these places, the late Russ Disdar, my battle buddy and good friend, he stated on the record in our films, Secrets of a Supernatural, Voices from the Other Side, that if these are Nephilim mounds and they are highly charged, there's curses that are there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. There are curses, and those of us who are foolish enough to dig in. I remember, you can see the skulls behind me. These come from Peru. And when I went down there in 2013, and again, we were handling them. Well, I was under oppression basically 3 to 4 years. Before, I mean, not possessed, but oppressed. I mean, I was being hammered for like 3 or 4 years, to the point where I was ready to leave the ministry because I couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord released me at some point, but it was no fun and games, and certainly no picnic. That's why this mound that we have access to, even though Fritz Zimmerman has believed, as he came out of the water from being baptized on Resurrection Sunday, which is really incredible. And Fritz is in his 50s now, moving into his 60s, I think. And so he got baptized, and he loves the Lord and all that. And as he was coming up, his whole body was just like tingling, and the Lord spoke to him and said, "Continue." So we're not sure what that means. Does it mean just continuing the research in general, or does it mean that we can dig into this mound? So you can see I'm being really extremely cautious before we do anything, because we believe that there's a burial there. We believe there's a burial.
Fully understand too. I tell you, it blows me away that how these things are coming to light now. This, with you and Rob Skiba talked about it, Timothy Alberino.
Yep.
How that they've been not hardly spoken of, or probably not spoken of for so long, and now here they are. It's crazy to me. I don't know how it could have been suppressed for so long. The Bible studied word for word so intently for so many 2,000 years. Well, several for a long time, and they just skip right over that.
This is why we started this show, Supernatural Confrontations. I mean, this is why we're doing it. We've hit a nerve. And what it's great about it is it gives people like yourself to come on the record. This is a clearinghouse. This is a safe place to go. Other people need to understand that this phenomenon is real, and it's not going away, and it's all tied in. So now that, we talked about the ancient, the arcane with the mound, but then as you're walking off the mound, you see something, and we'll show the photographs of it. I mean, it looks like a disc or some sort of it's not a lenticular cloud. Did you watch it vanish? Did you watch it appear? Tell me how you saw it and how it came and left.
I don't know how it come to be, because we were just, we had our heads down most of the time looking for relics. But as we were walking back towards the truck, we weren't near the truck, but we were heading that way. I just looked up, and there it was. I just froze in place. I couldn't imagine what it to be, but it never did go away. It stayed right there until we drove off.
Now, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Nothing.
And you've lived there all your life, right?
Oh yeah, 42 years.
So you would, if this was a common occurrence, you might have seen it before.
Yeah, it's certainly. And you could look at that picture. I hope it come through good, but
it did. It's incredible.
And tell it's not a common thing to see in the sky.
So let me ask you something. When you looked up and you saw this, I'm assuming you told your friend, "Oh my gosh, look at this." What were you thinking? Did it have any impact on you physically or mentally?
Honestly, I thought, because to me it looked like a portal, because of I don't know. I guess I just always dreamed that's what one would look like if I actually saw one. And I got to thinking, with this mound and what had happened to my late friend, that if that is a portal, it is right over the mound, then either something's coming or going. And I'm in between it. So I'm getting out of the way, So I kind of scooted on back the truck. I froze in place for a minute till that come through my head. But then, when it did, I kind of got an uneasy feeling. At first I was a total amazement. But as I processed it, realized where I'm at, what it looks like, and I said, I don't want to be between it and this mound. So
Well,
I kind of,
let me ask you this, Matthew. Are you sure you didn't have any missing time? I mean, there's
I not that I'm aware of. I don't
Okay.
know. I had nothing really come to be, but I can't think of anything like that. I wished I had an event where, something like that, but I guess not. It was just the look of it, because I really didn't stick around long enough to process what I'm looking at. And then I kind of, if I had seen it over my house, I could have stayed with it a little longer, but it was where I was at and what, I didn't want to be between the two.
What about sound? Were there any weird sounds going on when you saw it that you can recollect?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
But I'd say the truth, that if it was thundering, I couldn't hear it, because I build houses and I can't hardly hear nothing. So that's not really unheard of. The fact that I didn't hear anything, I can't even hear thunder most of the time.
Okay. Any closing thoughts before I let you go? And thank you for coming on the record. We really appreciate it.
No, I was just glad to hear from you, man. I've really enjoyed your work. I really have. It's really flipped my world upside down, man. And it brings so many things together between you and a couple other, Missler and Alberino. Y'all really brought a lot of stuff to light.
And that's why we're doing the show.
I'm so glad, man. Somebody needs to be telling the world. Y'all are doing a great job of it.
Thank you, Matthew. Glory to the King. It's all him. But thanks for coming on the record. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So much.
LA, you have a wonderful day, man.
Yes, sir. You too. The supernatural is real. In our Bibles, it talks about the supernatural. When Jesus was here, he walked on water. He healed the leper. He broke bread and fish and fed 5,000 people. He calmed the storm with 2 words: be still. Unbelievable. Be calm. Unbelievable. Jesus showed his mastery over all aspects of the natural. He walked in the supernatural. What I'm starting to see more and more is a manifestation of the supernatural. And this is why we have this platform. If you have a story that you'd like to share, if you've had an encounter with a UFO, if you have films, if you've been taken, abducted, if you've seen dark figures, if you've had an angelic encounter, if angels had come and rescued you in some event, without their aid you would be dead, please shoot me an email, la@lamarzulli.net, la@lamarzulli.net. I'll read your testimony. I'll reach out to you. We'll do a sort of a pre-interview, and then we'll do a Zoom chat, and we'll post it right here. The supernatural is real, and it's manifesting in ways that I've never seen. Thanks so much for watching Supernatural Confrontations. We'll be back tomorrow with another exciting story, another testimony from someone who has had a supernatural confrontation.